Alright, this is the fifth story, goes with episode 5 of Roll for Short Story. This one's called Foiled Plans, the Steampunk Fantasy. And if you don't want to listen to me, it is on Substack. You can read on your own, or you can just mute me and read along here. Alright. A massive, foreboding factory out in the middle of the desert certainly looks like a mad scientist's lab. Dozens of well-hidden traps littered the perimeter, nothing I couldn't handle. They were all mines and tripwire traps buried in the sand, and I simply soared over them, shooting a grappling hook into the pipes that entangled the building to pull myself to the roof. Even when pierced with my harpoon-like grapple, none of the pipes emitted the steam or smoke one would expect from a working factory. Swinging down to perch on the wall next to a window, I peer inside. It's pitch black. Not a soul in sight. For an allegedly dangerous engineer manufacturing weapons, they seemed understaffed. I slipped through one of the broken windows, my thick layers to protect me from the desert chill also saving me from the broken glass and jagged metal. Sticking to high perches, I survey the main factory floor with a small flame burning in my free hand to light the way. The machines are all cold and probably have been for years. Thick layers of dust cover the panels, levers, and conveyors, every piece of machinery showing no sign of recent use. At the back of the factory, there's an elevator that leads to the dark offices. The windows the supervisors would use to watch their workers are nearly opaque with built-up dust and grime. Every direction looks the same. Dark, empty, abandoned. I sniff the air, trying to get past the scent of rust and dirt. Since none of these machines have been used recently, the scent of burning coal or oil from any working machine should stand out. After 2 laps around the building, I pick up on a faint scent of burning coming from an unassuming storage room. At first glance, I don't see anything out of place, but a closer look reveals a clear path someone took through the dust. It led to a tall, locked cabinet. I first disarmed the trap above the cabinet. It's not nearly as well hidden as the traps outside, and picked the lock. The cabinet leads to stairs that descend into a basement, and the smell of machinery gets stronger. I expect the noise of grinding gears and the chatter of workers forced to work into the night. My employer painted this engineer to be a dangerous enemy to all of Teray, some nefarious person that must never be allowed to construct these alleged weapons. Since the Council of 8 sent a thief instead of the army, I figure they're lying. The basement is just as dark as the surface, but the machinery is newer and well kept, and the heat chamber that powered them is still warm. I sneak around the pipes and pistons until I find the small office in one corner. The office is cluttered with stacks of books along the walls and crumpled papers strewn across the floor. The walls are covered with plans and blueprints, as are the tables and desks. I see nothing that resembles a weapon, nothing that even seems a little bit dangerous. The most I can make out from the plans is a blueprint for a greenhouse of some sort and a map of the country. Everything else is half drawn and covered with scratched out gibberish. If this is a weapon, or something that can be weaponized, I assume the council will want completed plans. Either the engineer keeps the plans with them, or they're not as far along in the process as the council thought. I retreat for the moment, until I can reach out to my employer. The following afternoon, I make my way to Urkai. In the capital city, tall buildings wound in pipes emit steam from the machines working inside. Steam rises through the grates on the ground, and the vehicles crowding the street spit smoke from their rumbling engines. Between the desert heat, crowds of people, and steam-filled air, I immediately begin to sweat. The city irritates me. I descend into the blissful shade and solitude of an underground tunnel. I follow it for a while, the soft padding of my feet and the distant grinding of gears the only sounds echoing through the dark. The tunnel ends in a dead end, seemingly with nowhere to go. However, if one knows where to press, the wall slides open to reveal a lift. I clutch the lever and pump the magical heat from the flames within me into the metal. Runes carved into the handle glow orange and the mechanism activates. Terrain technology only works for Terraians, those blessed by the flames of the volcano Mount Ray. The council claims to welcome visitors from around the world, but the country's very infrastructure repels anyone who cannot wield the fire needed to power all our machines. Under the city, the Apiary Information Network operates their elaborate communication hub. Pipes and cogs line the walls like honeycombs, and the workers flit around to lead their customers to secluded corners of the hive. I return to the broker that brought the job to me and wait for him to connect me to the client. The device between us on the desk records one voice and sends it to its paired device elsewhere. The machine naturally garbles sounds, so it has been a favorite among the apiary and its clients since its invention. Is it done? Why are you contacting me? The client snaps. The plans I found were incomplete and seemed to be in some sort of code, I explain, gritting my teeth to keep my tone civil. I don't care. Where are they? I wouldn't risk notifying the engineer by stealing half-complete plans, only for you to tell me to go back. If you want incomplete plans, I'll get them. Just destroy them for all I care. All that matters is that they don't complete those weapons. I don't respond. He was adamant about obtaining the plans for himself initially. Something must have changed to send him into a panic. As much as I would enjoy watching the council squirm, I won't tarnish my reputation over them. I returned to the factory that very night, evading traps and finding the hidden entrance is simple. Nothing's changed other than some fresh footprints from earlier in the day. In the basement lab, light flickers from the office where I found the plans, and I hear someone muttering. Rather than using the noisier grappling hook, I climb the machines, avoiding the steam and loose gears. The engineer paces in her office between her desk and the blueprints on the wall. As strange and confusing as the notes I saw last night were, I'm sure they weren't weapons. If I'm to destroy these plans, I need to know what they were for. I silently jump down and stare into the doorway. The engineer jumps when she sees me, scattering notes all over the already messy floor and wielding her pen like a knife. Who the hell are you? What are you doing here? She yells, squinting into the shadows. I'm not here to hurt you. I just have questions, I say, stepping into the light with my hands up. The engineer's hands drop to her side as I come into view. Alina? I freeze, tensed and on guard now. Why do you know me? Well, it's been a while. We were neighbors. They never had any daughters as long as I knew them. I scrutinize the engineer's face. The longer I stare, the more familiar she becomes. The flat, pudgy nose, the pin-straight black hair, the chubby cheeks and dimpled chin. Wait, you're Jasmine now, she finishes for me. You were insufferable back then, and now you're a criminal. You were just as annoying. You never left me alone. We were the only children in our tiny village. It only made sense we stuck together. At the time, we hated each other, but looking back, we were both just unhappy and venting. I wanted to change from a boring fishing village, and she wanted to change everything, it seems. Jasmine scoffs and gathers her notes. You never told me why you were here. I was hired to steal or destroy your plans. I was told you've been building weapons. Bullshit. It was the council, wasn't it? They've been a thorn in my ass ever since I brought these plans to them. He never said who he was, but I deduced the same. I wait for Jasmine to elaborate, but she turns back to her blueprints, grumbling to herself. So? What are these plans? Why the hell would I tell you? If you don't, I'm burning it all, I snap back. And that's the only way I'm getting paid. It's an irrigation system. As things aren't now, the council has full control over the water supply, distributing it as they please from the rivers to the south and the oasis at the foot of the mountains. And you thought of a more efficient way? I fold my arms, not hiding the doubt in my face. Manually transporting water throughout Teray was the only option. The council spent years of time and more gold than most people would ever see to build a railway that connects every town to make the distribution as efficient as possible. Yes, and it would take time and a lot more effort than those bastards are willing to put in, but we can automate the distribution evenly. If we just build these pipes, they tried pipes, the metal corroded in the sand and sun, then build them underground. It's such a simple solution, and they refuse to acknowledge it. They just wanted the system to fail. I look back at the plans, and the gibberish begins to make sense. What I thought were doodles seemed to be drills, and the page of scribbles was a network of underground pipes that would feed the greenhouses in the one legible blueprint. Jasmine takes my hand and pulls me from the office. The drill is key. It can be fully automated with a long-lasting fuel source for the hot air engine, or Terrains can power it manually like this. She holds her flame under the engine, and the wheel and pumps spurt into motion. This seems small. I raise an eyebrow at the engine barely bigger than my head and the pointed bit in front of it. The above-ground pipes were probably quadruple the size. This is a prototype, the engineer snapped. You think I'm going to dig out all the tunnels myself? What the hell am I supposed to think? You said the council wouldn't take your idea. I'll just do public demonstrations. The council can't ignore the entire country. I scoff, but I contend she has a point. A crash in the office saves me from having to admit that out loud. One of Jasmine's shelves lay splintered on the floor, all her plans torn off the wall. A slender figure stands in the middle of the room. They have their hair shaved close to their neck and the rest tied in a bun, and a blank stare that twists into a smirk when they see me. Sage, I spit from the doorway. Alina, they respond. Clever plan. Too bad you have a loud partner, Jasmine grumbles, glaring between me and Sage. We're not partners, I argue back. Why would I team with someone inferior to me? Sage counters, their calm only irritating me further. Says the one who alerted everyone. Sage cuts me off, tossing a mechanical sphere with its runes already active toward me and Jasmine. Steam whistles from the heated interior until it bursts with a force that sends us both stumbling back. Sage takes the opportunity to dash past, stealing my grappling hook, and retreat. Come on, I don't want those council assholes to have my plans. Why would I help? You've always been a bit of a bitch, but I thought you were better than them. I glower at Jasmine's back as she races to the back of her lab before I can retort. Cursing under my breath, I run straight to the door, leaping over and through machinery more agilely than Sage's clunky misuse of my grappling hook. I slide under the machine they were trying to pry the hook out of and hurl a ball of flame at them. Don't burn my plans! Jasmine's disembodied voice erupts from the brass horn on the wall. I squint to the back of the lab to see the lit window Jasmine called from. She pulls levers and pulleys, controlling something. Sage dodges my flames, pushing off the machine with all their weight and tearing the panels loose. The falling metal narrowly misses me, and I lose sight of the other thief. Cloth balloons, directed by propellers, shoot through the air, following Sage in my stead. They burst on contact, singeing Sage's legs with flames. You're gonna burn them your damn self. I don't know if Jasmine can hear me, but I yell nevertheless. Block the exit instead. Sage hurls massive balls of flames at the ceiling and walls, trying to destroy the entire lab as they escape. Despite Jasmine's balloons surrounding them, Sage escapes through a hole they made. Grunts of pain and my grappling hook clattering to the floor signal that the escape isn't as successful as they hoped. I take the stairs instead, hoping their injuries slow them down enough for me to catch them, and follow the trail of blood through the empty warehouse. One of Jasmine's balloons float in my path, blocking me no matter how I try to move. Do you want me to help or not? I shout into the warehouse. As an answer, chains shoot from the wall in front of me, followed by another yell of pain. I follow the sound to see Sage pulling a spiked chain from their shoulder. Their legs are singed, one arm is sliced and bloody, and now their opposite shoulder is injured, spilling blood onto Jasmine's blueprints. Is the council's money worth all of this? Just leave the plans, they're not weapons. You think I care about weapons? They're paying me enough to sit pretty for the rest of my life. Sage throws another sphere at me, hitting me square in the chest. I fall flat on my back, fighting for the air that burst stole from my lungs, and watch Sage stagger to the exit. Dazed, I follow. If the council is this desperate to keep the plans from coming to fruition, they'll never let me or Jasmine live. I wonder just how much of their coffers are filled by the tax they charge for water transport. The rumble of a motor outside spurs me into motion. I emerge from the lab just in time to see Sage riding over the dunes, mines in the sand exploding in their wake. For them to go fast enough to dodge the explosions, they were pouring a dangerous amount of energy into the sand bike. Without my grappling hook, or a vehicle of my own, I have no way to chase. Another, louder motor sounds behind me. Alina, come on. Jasmine calls me from the driver's seat of a small dune buggy. Its wide tires leaving clouds of sand in its wake, and the twisting metal and steam pipes glowing orange with more rooms than one vehicle should have. I'm not getting on that thing. It's going to get on or I'm running you over. I leap on as Jasmine slows in front of me, barely able to sit before she speeds after Sage. She catches me with one hand without taking her eyes off from the tracks from Sage's bike. We catch up in no time, Sage's energy waning while we take turns powering the buggy. We also take turns flinging balls of flames at Sage's bike. Once they're on foot, Jasmine will be able to recover her blueprints. Sage, with their injuries, can't steer and fight back. Sweat beads on their brow as their cocky grin twists into a distressed grimace. One of my fireballs hits the front of Sage's bike, bursting the large pipe that sends steam to the bike's engine and causing both bike and rider to flip into the sand. Jasmine skids to a stop near the wreck of steam and twisted metal. The sand around Sage is soaked deep red, and the heavy bike pinning them to the ground, and the jagged, mangled pipes buried in their gut. As we approach, black smoke rises amid the steam, along with a weak, wet laugh. Even if I lose, Sage whispers in their final breaths, I'm satisfied knowing you won't win either. The blueprints crumble into black ash in their hand. Jasmine curses and kicks Sage's bike, though she can't do any more damage to the thief. The smirk, forever frozen into Sage's lips, turns my stomach. I'm more than happy to leave them to rot in the sands. I don't know if they got different instructions, but my client was satisfied knowing the plans were destroyed. I mutter, picking the single intact edge of one of the blueprints from Sage's hand. Go ahead and take them back then, Jasmine replies, settling back into her vehicle. At least you'll get paid. The engineer sits, tapping a finger on the steering wheel and gazing off into the direction of the Capitol. Aside from her permanently creased brow, she looks no more upset than usual. You're calm for someone who lost their life's work. I join her in the buggy, waving the piece of parchment. She shrugs in response. It'll be a pain in the ass to write all that again, but the plans are all in my head. With an annoyed growl, she adds, It'll just be a matter of time before those bastards bother me again, though. My eyes fall on Sage's body, already partially buried in the sands. Not if they think you're dead. I'll tell them I killed you and burned your plans. Take your prototype and flee to the other side of the mountains. The council doesn't care about those towns, and they'd be more likely to be on board with your plan. Jasmine stares at me, eyes widening as she processes my idea. That's brilliant. After you collect from the council, perhaps you can be my assistant. No. The corner of my lips twitch up despite my tone. But I'll give you a heads up if the council catch wind of you again. Deal. And that's it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for reading. Hope you liked it. See you next time.